So the NBA Summer League is in full swing, and we're getting to watch some of these guys that were recently drafted. Maybe they went undrafted, or hey, maybe they were in the 2023 or 2024 draft class play and get way more touches and opportunities than we would normally see throughout the regular season. And I asked you guys on Twitter, give me a hot take, takeaway, or an overreaction for your favorite team so far throughout Summer League, and we're going to react to one for each team today. And let me preface, this is just Summer League, right? A lot of these guys are not going to play next year in the regular season as many minutes as they're going to be playing over the next few weeks. We saw guys like Reed Shepherd kill the Summer League last year. He didn't have a great opportunity for Houston in his rookie year. And we saw a guy like Alex Sarr really struggle in the Summer League. Some generational poor performances in Summer League last year, and he ended up as a top 5 rookie the following season. So don't put too much stock into Summer League, but it's really cool to see if these guys are NBA players or not. And we'll start off one from Wizards Muse. I got a ton of comments about the Wizards. He says that Keyshawn George is the type of winning player that sticks around for 10 to 12 years in the NBA and is the second best player in the Wizards young core. Now, I tweeted out when they were playing the Phoenix Suns a photo of the 2019 Warriors after they signed DeMarcus Cousins with the Big Three and Kevin Durant over there in Golden State, and that was basically the Wizards Summer League roster, because when you look at it, it's basically their 2026 team. You have Keyshawn George, Trey Johnson, who was just drafted 6th overall, Alex Sarr, Bub Carrington, AJ Johnson, Jameer Watkins, Will Riley. This team is absolutely stacked, and they got blown out by the Phoenix Suns, a team we'll get to in a little bit. But Keyshawn George was definitely the best Washington Wizard in that game. He struggled in the first half in his rookie season, but he got going in the second half, looked more comfortable getting to his spots, and was a very solid defender over the final months of his rookie season. And he had a great first game in Summer League. He had 24 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 steals. He shot 55% from the field and had a 65% true shooting percentage. And I agree with Wizards Muse here that he could be a type of player that sticks around for 10 to 12 years, because my projection of Keyshawn George coming out of Miami was that perfect 3D role player. It was going to take a little bit of time, but in my opinion, he's ahead of schedule. I wouldn't say he's the second best player of the Wizards young core. I'm still insanely high on Alex Sarr, and I'm still high on Trey Johnson, who they just drafted, and Bilal Coulibaly. I wouldn't say he's a top 2 player in the Wizards young core, but he's definitely somebody they need to prioritize his development going forward. Next up here from Aussie Warriors says that Will Richard is going to be the Warriors starting shooting guard in 5 years. Now, I would say the Warriors don't have one of the more exciting Summer League rosters. It's intriguing that guys like Trey Jackson-Davis, Brandon Podziemski, Quentin Post are all not appearing in Summer League right now, and Will Richard definitely had the best performance out of any Golden State Warrior in their blowout loss to the Portland Trail Blazers on Friday night. He ended up having 12 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and shot 55% from the field. What I loved about Will Richard's game, specifically in the March Madness tournament, he could hit big-time shots when nobody else on his team could. In that March Madness finale against Houston, everybody had the jitters. Everybody was nervous, but Will Richard was somebody that was super calm, cool, and collective on the floor. And if you're going to a team like Golden State, the expectations are high. They have a very small window to win a title before Steph, Jimmy, and Draymond all retire. I don't think he's going to be their starting shooting guard in 5 years. I think that would probably still be Brandon Podziemski by default. I mean, who knows? Podziemski could be traded in a few weeks. We never know. But I do think Will Richard could be in the Warriors rotation next year for sure. Kako Alonso is going to mention one here for the Portland Trail Blazers. Everybody's favorite prospect here. Young Hansen will be the Blazers face of the franchise in some years. Now, you guys know I didn't love the pick on draft night when they took Young Hansen with the 16th overall selection. I thought they could have got him a little bit later, and whatever. That is thrown out the window. It was an arbitrary grade on draft night, and I said in my draft grade video, I hope I am dead wrong. I want him to become the Chinese Jokic, because that would be one of the most exciting players to watch in the NBA. And he's had a very good Summer League so far. He had 10 points against Golden State. He had 10 points against Memphis. He's averaging around 4.5 rebounds, 4.5 assists as well. And that is basically the calling card for Young Hansen right now. The court vision for somebody at his age. He's somebody that can handle the rock on the perimeter. And you know, when you watch a lot of these centers, right? Maybe it's a Nick Claxton, maybe it's a Mitchell Robinson. They kind of default. They just want to get the ball back to a guard or a ball handler. You can run some flare actions with Young Hansen with the ball in his hands, or somebody can cut back door and he can find his man. And I think that's going to be great to have in Portland right now. I thought it was interesting not to see Donovan Clingan play on this roster for Summer League, but I think Portland's got a really exciting young core. I think Young Hansen is going to have some ups and downs over the first 2 years of his career. I hope there's a decent amount of playing time with Clingan there and no longer DeAndre Ayton, and we'll see about Robert Williams, but I do think there could be some really exciting plays over the course of Summer League and over the course of his rookie season. I don't know if he's going to be the face of the franchise. Like, I'd still probably say it could be Denny or Scoot Henderson or Shaedon Sharpe right now, but if he is close to those guys, then the Blazers are going to have one of the more exciting cores in this league, and I'm going to look dead wrong in a couple years reacting to my initial draft grade video. Daniel Jacobs mentions here for the Minnesota Timberwolves, Johan Behrens Berenger is going to be crazy after developing with Rudy Gobert. I slept on him really heavy in the draft process. Now, I'll also agree I was lower on Berenger. Nobody's right or wrong after Summer League. You can come back in maybe 2 to 3 years and you could say somebody is wrong because we actually need to see what they're going to do on an NBA floor. But Berenger was the star of the first Summer League game in Vegas against the Pelicans, where he had 11 points, 8 rebounds, and 7 blocks. He had 2 blocks on the first possession in that game. It looked a lot better than lottery pick big man Derek Queen out there. And then he followed that up with 7 points, 7 rebounds, and a block against the Denver Nuggets. He's been efficient at the rim. What I've loved about watching Berenger so far in the Summer League, he is very patient and he's comfortable getting the ball inside and isn't just so aggressive where he needs to go up with it right away. He'll let the defenders get in the air and he can use his athleticism and his timing to get the highest efficient shot possible. And I think that's going to be great learning behind Rudy Gobert. Obviously somebody that gets a lot of hate, and I think is going to be a great mentor for Berenger. French big man, elite shot blocker to potentially another one over time. Also want to give some love to Terrence Shannon Jr., who looks like he is way too good for Summer League right now. I'm getting a Thunder take here from Mavericks season, and he mentions that Brooks Barnhizer will be a key part of why OKC will be a huge contender for years to come. Now, it wasn't just Maverick season. I got a bunch of replies about Brooks Barnhizer, who is somebody that I came of notice to late in the draft process. But when I was watching him at Northwestern, there was a couple teams that just made sense for Barnhizer that just screamed either Indiana Pacer, Memphis Grizzly, or OKC Thunder. He ends up going in the second round to the Thunder, and Sam Presti got his guy. He's somebody that was a very good defender last year at Northwestern when he was healthy. He's a fantastic rebounder on either end as well. He could switch onto multiple guys defensively. And we've got to see a decent amount of Barnhizer so far because they did play in a couple Summer League games before Vegas, and he's had a game where he's had 13 rebounds against Memphis. He's had a game where he had 6 rebounds against Utah, 7 against Brooklyn, and 5 rebounds and 6 steals most recently against the Indiana Pacers. And if that 3-point shot falls, he's going to be playing on a super valuable contract because second round picks, if you can hit on them with the modern CBA, are going to be so valuable if they're making up just 2% of your team's total cap space. And I got to give a shout out to Nikola Topic as well. He's looked great so far, and Chris Youngblood may be one of the surprising standouts in Summer League so far. The Thunder have been a very fun Summer League team to watch so far. I got a lot of Suns comments as well, which is making me excited about their future because it did not look very exciting maybe just a few months ago, but they've had some very fun pieces so far in Summer League. This one comes from Mario. He says that Kobe Bryant is the steal of the draft. He'll have a long NBA career and will be one of the best shooters of his generation. So some very high praise from Mario here about Kobe Bryant, who I said was a top 5 shooter in this class. If you guys followed any of my draft content, you know that I was very high on Bryant as a very safe shooter in this class and should go in the top 45. And the Phoenix Suns got him in the second round, and it was a phenomenal selection. Bryant has one of the smoothest jumpers that we're going to watch throughout Summer League. Now, he just had 1 game so far by the time I'm recording this. He had 19 points against the Washington Wizards, who I said were like the death lineup warriors of Summer League, and the shot looks so good. He went 4 or 5 from 3. He's got an elite track record at Dayton and at Kentucky, just being a 3-point shooter over a very large sample size in college basketball. He may end up being the steal of the draft for sure. I think the Suns did very well with Kaman at 10, Rasheer Fleming at 31, and Kobe Bryant in the second round. You add those guys to Devin Booker and Jalen Green, Ryan Dunn, and Oso Ighodaro. The Suns' young core may be a little bit better than what we originally thought going forward. So I have a ton of San Antonio Spurs ones here, and it's really not about Dylan Harper. It's been the star standout defensively of Summer League, Carter Bryant. Court Vision mentions that Carter Bryant will be a top 5 defender in the NBA within 2 seasons. BWRNT mentions that Carter Bryant will be the next Kawhi for the Spurs, and Daniel Jacobs makes it again, saying Carter Bryant may have more of a year 1 impact than Dylan Harper. Now, Carter Bryant was projected as a 3-and-D complimentary piece coming out of Arizona. That's what he played under Tommy Lloyd last year for the Wildcats, and honestly, the defense has been as good as advertised, and it's been even better. He's being able to pick up some of the opposing team's star player like Cooper Flagg in that Mavericks game the whole floor. And yeah, he's not going to be perfect every single night. He's been honestly struggling a lot with his shot. He had 7 points in his first game, 0 points 6 days ago against Golden State, 9 points against the Lakers, 5 points against the 76ers, and just 2 points against the Dallas Mavericks. He didn't hit a single shot. He went 0 of 7 from the field, but the defense has been so good that nobody cares about that right now. I believe in Carter Bryant's shot. That's why I had him ranked number 9 on my big board, but the defense has honestly been so much fun to watch. Him and Wemby are going to be such a lethal duo for years to come in that front court. I don't know if he's going to have more of a year one impact than Dylan Harper, because I think Dylan Harper is so good and as close to Cooper Flagg as a prospect than anybody in this class. But if Bryant's defense is going to be this good, he may start over Jeremy Sohan by the end of the season. Sengun mentions here for the Houston Rockets, Reed Sheppard could have averaged 20 points per game on another team if he played last year. Now he can in Houston this upcoming season. Reed Sheppard felt like he was too good for Summer League last year as a rookie. He dominated it, getting to the spots that he wanted, high efficient jumpers and finishing at the rim while also getting his teammates involved. And he showed out against the LA Clippers where he had 28 points. He shot 10 of 25 from the field, 6 of 15 from 3. He had a 52% true shooting, 4 assists, 4 steals, and 3 blocks as well. And I'm so excited to watch year 2 Reed Sheppard. We can believe that Rafael Stone is also very high on Reed Sheppard because they didn't want to trade him whatsoever in a Kevin Durant trade this offseason. And with guys like Jalen Green gone and Dylan Brooks, and I know you're adding Kevin Durant, but there's going to be more opportunities for Reed Sheppard. You never know if there's going to be injury in that backcourt, and he could be starting right away for the Houston Rockets. I loved watching Reed Sheppard coming out of Kentucky. Adam is my number 3 player on my 2024 big board, so I'm still very high on him. I just need to see it in the regular season. He may be somebody that is just too good for Summer League, but I need to see it from October to May, and I can finally be locked in on Reed Sheppard. But I'm so excited to watch him next year. He plays the game so smoothly. He can get his teammates involved. He makes the right reads, and I think if he had more of a consistent opportunity in Houston, he would have had the ups and the downs early on like he did, but he would have been consistently better throughout the year. Something we saw from Zachary Sachet or Alex Sarr or even Stephon Castle. These guys struggled out of the gate, but once they had more consistent playing time over the course of the year, they looked so much better. And I think that can happen with Reed Sheppard if he was given more opportunities in year 1. Stevie mentions here for the Toronto Raptors that Elijah Martin is a rotational player and will be a nightmare for opposing benches. I know it wasn't against one of the best Summer League teams in the Chicago Bulls, but Elijah Martin looked so good in their 34-point blowout win against Chicago. He had maybe the best dunk of Summer League so far in that game as well. He had 16 points. He shot 50% from the field, 50% from 3. He had 2 steals, and we know that the point of attack defense at Florida was legit, and I thought he was one of the best guard defenders going into the 2025 class as well, and that's what Toronto prioritized in the NBA draft, getting guys like Conmurray Boyles and Elijah Martin that could be solid defenders on that end of the floor. And Elijah Martin could definitely be a rotational player for the Raptors next year. There's been talks that they could move Emmanuel Quickley or RJ Barrett, and it won't be easy for Martin as well because you got Jamal Shed, who's a defensive stud as well. You got Jacoby Walter, a former first-round pick. Same with Grady Dick as well, that Martin will need to fight out for to get a little bit more playing time. But I do think, like Stevie mentions, he will be a rotational player next year. And him and Jamal Shed at times, maybe it won't be the best offensive duo, but it could be an elite defensive duo already. Alex mentions here for the Detroit Pistons that Ron Holland is coming for the NBA and is going to help the Pistons take another leap next season. Now, like Elijah Martin's game against the Bulls, I think Ron Holland may have played one of the worst Summer League teams we'll watch. I don't think it's the worst, but it's down there with my New York Knicks. But Holland looks so good. He looks like he's probably too good for Summer League already, and that makes me excited about year 2 Ron Holland, who also didn't have like super consistent playing time in terms of getting the offensive touches on that end of the floor. They lost guys like Dennis Schroeder and Malik Beasley potentially this offseason, and Tim Hardaway Jr. Now they brought in Karis LeVert and Duncan Robinson, but I hope they don't steal the touches from Ron Holland, who had 28 points, 11 rebounds on 79% true shooting against the New York Knicks. He got to the free throw line a ton. I had Ron Holland as my second ranked prospect in the 2024 draft. I had Sarr 1, Holland 2, Sheppard 3, Castle 4, and Reese Ashe 5. So I really hope that Ron Holland could take elite next year because he wasn't a top 5 rookie last year, but I do think he has the athleticism, the ability to get downhill and finish at the rim to really elevate the Pistons. So I agree here with Alex. I'm not going to put too much stock into a Summer League game against the Knicks, but I'm glad he's playing the part right now. Zach says here for the New Orleans Pelicans, an extremely hot take, that Derek Queen should have stayed in college. Now, Derek Queen was an extremely tough prospect for me to evaluate because the highs were so high and the lows were so low. I was lower on him. I had closer to the end of the lottery, and I didn't have a top 10 grade on him. And we know that the Pelicans drafted him with also the reasoning that they gave up a future unprotected swap. I don't believe that Derek Queen should have stayed in college. Maybe there's an alternate universe where he's playing at Villanova under Kevin Willard, who left Maryland to become the Wildcats head coach over there on the main line. But Derek Queen did struggle at times against Minnesota in his first Summer League game, 13 points, 10 rebounds, but I think wasn't as good as the numbers showed. And then in his second game against the LA Lakers, 12 points, 13 rebounds, but just shot 33% from the field, didn't hit a 3, and a 41% true shooting percentage. Sometimes Derek Queen can be a little lackadaisical on the defensive end of the floor. I do wonder if his 3-point shot doesn't really become effective in his rookie year, can you have him out there with Zion Williamson and Yves Missi, or are those guys just going to be unplayable together because none of those guys can space the floor consistently? So I think we're going to have some highs, some lows, ups and downs of Derek Queen's rookie year. I don't believe that he should have stayed in college. I do think he's an NBA level rookie, but it's going to take time for him to develop, and it hasn't really been the best start in Summer League for their top draft picks of Jeremiah Fears and Derek Queen. But we shouldn't put too much stock into this Summer League, but I would like for Derek Queen's motor on the defensive end to just be a little bit better. I want to talk about two Pacers here, and it's not about one of my favorite prospects in the draft, Cam Jones. The first one comes from Chase, that Johnny Furphy is the real deal and is a dark horse to take a big jump for the Pacers. And the next one comes from Taylor Peter will crack the rotation for the Pacers this season. So we've seen 3 Pacers Summer League games so far, and I was very high on Johnny Furphy here in the Summer League, where he appeared in 2 Summer League games so far. He had 8 points against the Cavs in the first one, and then he had 11 points against OKC. The 3-point shot's been a little bit inconsistent so far, but I believe in Furphy's shot a ton. I had a top 5 shooting grade on him in the 2024 draft, and he was going to be a little bit more of a developmental guy in Indiana. There wasn't a clear spot for him in the rotation last year. I thought maybe he could have stayed another year at Kansas, but I think with the Halliburton injury, with Miles Turner leaving, you never know if there's going to be another move or two for the Pacers this upcoming season. They didn't have another first round pick this year because they made that trade with the Pelicans to get their 2026 first back. I think Furphy could definitely crack the rotation this year and get consistent minutes for them, and I'm very excited to watch him over the course of year number 2. As for Taylor Peter, man, what a find for Kevin Pritchard and Chad Buchanan. If you look at anybody's big board, I didn't have a scouting grade on him. I didn't know of him much at Liberty whatsoever. Neither did some of the big outlets either. So this was like the major surprise of the 2025 draft, and probably somebody the Pacers could have gotten with an undrafted selection. But no, the Pacers front office, which is a very smart one, said, we want to get our guy. And this guy had one of the best true shooting percentages in all of college basketball. He's one of the most efficient scorers. He had 15 points. He went 6 of 10 from the field, 3 of 7 from 3 against the OKC Thunder Summer League defense, which is no slouch whatsoever. And there's a chance that Peter can crack the rotation. We know that the Pacers like to operate under the luxury tax. Maybe in a year from now that they trade away Obi Toppin or they don't extend Benedict Mathurin, there could be a lot of rotational minutes for Taylor Peter and Johnny Furphy in the years to come in Indiana. Rolo says here for the Brooklyn Nets that Yegor Demon will one day win the 3-point contest at the All-Star weekend. Great, considering some analysts saying he couldn't shoot in college. Now, I'm not sure if there's some sarcasm here because he couldn't shoot in college whatsoever. He went 2 of 5 from 3, and he only took shots outside the 3-point line against the OKC Thunder in his first game in Summer League. I think the Nets are going to be a fascinating team to watch next year because guys like Yegor Demon, Nolan Traore, and Ben Saroff like to delegate. They like to initiate and get their teammates involved. And Cam Thomas isn't signed yet in Brooklyn, but we know he loves to shoot. Same with newly acquired swingman Michael Porter Jr. I think they're going to be a lot of fun to watch. There's going to be some ugly. There's going to be some fun in it next year for the 2026 Nets. But I would put a lot of money on that he's not going to win a 3-point contest in his NBA career. I'd take the odds on that one. Riley says here for the Dallas Mavericks that Cooper Flagg will be an all-star in year number 1. So Cooper Flagg played Bronny James in the LA Lakers. You know that the NBA had to hype up that matchup in his first Summer League game, and he wasn't great against the Lakers. He did struggle. He was forcing a lot, and the star of that game was undrafted point guard Ryan Nembhard of the Dallas Mavericks, somebody I'm very excited to watch throughout the rest of Summer League. But Cooper Flagg had 10 points. He went 5 of 21 from the field, 23% from the field, and went 0 of 5 from 3. But I thought the athleticism was on display, and he looked great defensively. But you know what? Victor Wembanyama had a bad first Summer League game, and everybody was saying this guy is overhyped. And yeah, we can see where Wemby is right now. And Cooper Flagg played a lot better against San Antonio and Carter Bryant in his second Summer League game. He had 31 points on 58% true shooting. He had 4 rebounds. Like I said, the athleticism has been eye-popping so far in Summer League. There's been a couple times where he could have had some like star-studding posters over his first 2 games. Do I think he's going to be an all-star in year 1? Probably not. Now, there is a chance where he is the second leading scorer on this Mavericks team until Kyrie Irving comes back. It's going to be Anthony Davis number 1. And if Cooper Flagg is going to be handling the ball a ton, he could definitely average the second highest points on the Mavericks. Now, it depends when Kyrie Irving comes back, because obviously Kyrie will score more than Cooper Flagg. I would like to see Flagg still playing an off-ball role. I think he struggled a little bit as the main ball handler so far throughout Summer League, but I do think he could be a backup point guard in a pinch for Dallas going forward. So yeah, it is definitely an overreaction. I don't think he'll be an all-star in year 1. I think an interesting question, can he be an all-star in year number 2? Because there's a potential chance for that. FK says here for the Orlando Magic that Jace Richardson is the Jamal Crawford. And people love to say if there's something good that happens for your narrative in Summer League, you're right. But if it's something bad for your narrative, it's just Summer League. So I'm not going to say or toot my own horn anything about Jace Richardson because I thought he went way too low in the draft. And we're going to have to see how he is in his rookie year and year 2 and year 3 to figure out if I'm right or not. And he's not going to get a ton of playing time in his rookie season, right? Because you got your starting 5 over there in Orlando in Suggs, Bane, Franz, Paolo, and either Wendell Carter Jr. or Goga Badatse. They do have Anthony Black coming off the bench that they're very high on. Tristan Da Silva, who's looked good in Summer League and was a first-round pick last year. Jed Howard, we'll see if he gets minutes. But Jace looked very good against Sacramento. He went 5 of 8 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3. He had a 78% true shooting percentage. I think the ball handling is NBA ready for sure. He's very crafty with the ball in his hands, bringing up the ball as well. He can get his teammates involved a little bit. I don't know if he's going to beat Jamal Crawford. That would be high praise. That would be a very good career for somebody that went with the 25th pick in the NBA draft. And I would love that for somebody that was a Jace Richardson truther ahead of the 2025 draft. The next one comes from Jib, and he mentions that Cole Swider will be signed by the Lakers and crack the rotation once the Lakers package Dalton Connect, Rui Hachimura, and a first-round pick for a wing. And that wing is going to be Andrew Wiggins, right? Lakers fans, I have no idea where that report came from, but I do think there's a chance the Lakers do sign Cole Swider because I'm sure JJ Redick loves the archetype of Swider who moves a little bit better than Dalton Connect without the ball in his hands, and he's been more consistent as a shooter as well. In their first Summer League game against the Warriors, he had 24 points on 102% true shooting percentage because he was lights out from 3, didn't miss a free throw. Then against the Miami Heat, they won by 20. He had 20 points on 82% true shooting percentage. He had 15 points against a good San Antonio Spurs defense where he did go 2 of 9 from 3. He struggled a little bit there, but bounced back against the Dallas Mavericks, against Cooper Flagg, where he had 22 points on 87% true shooting percentage. And recently he had a double-double, 21 points and 10 rebounds on 57% true shooting percentage against the Pelicans, who have some good perimeter defenders as well. I think the Lakers have to sign Cole Swider. I think he's definitely worth a 13, 14, 15 spot on your roster right now with the chance to have an increase in playing time if injuries or trades happen over the course of next year's season. I was still high on Dalton Connect after his rookie year, but if he's not going to be as consistent as Cole Swider because they're not far apart defensively, what's there to say that Swider won't play more than Dalton Connect by March of next year? Kranitz mentions here for the New York Knicks that the Knicks takeaway for Summer League is it will not dictate the second-year guys playing or not. They won't be playing meaningful minutes this season with the signings of Gershon Yabusele and Jordan Clarkson. Let them build chemistry during the summer so they can fill in as needed with injuries. This is a fair Knicks take from Kranitz for sure. I don't think the Knicks have one of the best Summer League rosters. I think Tyler Kolek struggled a ton against the Detroit Pistons. He needs to get better defensively if Mike Brown is going to trust him at any point in year number 2. I think Bakomi Dadier is probably one of the more intriguing Knicks wings that are younger on this Knicks roster. He had 17 points against the Detroit Pistons. There's some defensive upside there, but if the shot is going to be too inconsistent, I don't think the Knicks, who have title aspirations next year, can trust Bakomi Dadier. I think maybe the most interesting young Knick is Ariel Hukporti because they're probably not bringing back Precious Achiuwa. And there is a streamline for Hukporti who showed flashes. He was the last pick of the 2024 draft. He showed a lot of flashes in his rookie year. He's somebody that plays with athleticism, intensity, can run up and down the floor, and I think the Knicks could definitely use him next year, and I think Mike Brown would have liked him a lot. I wish Stink Pate shot a little bit better against the Detroit Pistons. They drafted Mohamed Diawara in the second round. He's probably not going to play at all. Apparently he's buddies with Bakomi Dadier. That's why they drafted him. So yeah, this Knicks Summer League team and the Knicks young core isn't great. We know that because they've dished out guys like RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley, Obi Toppin, Quentin Grimes over the years. But if they could just show a little bit more confidence, defensive consistency in year number 2 for most of these guys, I think that's all you can ask for as the Knicks front office. E-Train Talk Sports mentions here for the Sacramento Kings that Maxime Reynal and Nick Clifford will both make an all-rookie team this season. Now, I've enjoyed watching Kings Summer League hoops so far. I was very high on Nick Clifford and Maxime Reynal in the NBA draft. I thought they both went lower, especially Maxime Reynal in the NBA draft than where they should have went. They beat the Orlando Magic by 3, a game in which Maxime Reynal was one of the stars in that game. He had 16 points and 5 rebounds. Nick Clifford had 17 points and 4 rebounds. And I thought they both looked the part, and they could be rotational players for sure next year. We have no idea what the Kings are still going to do this offseason. Are they going to trade DeRozan or Malik Monk? Could they just end up as a Jonathan Kuminga team and they have to dish out somebody like a Keegan Murray? We will have to wait and see. But then they beat the Bulls by 17. And this was the Devin Carter game. I'm so excited to watch year 2 Devin Carter because his calling card coming out of Providence as a Friar, he could be somebody that can help a title team right away. Now, the Kings aren't a title team, but I think if they're playing meaningful games down the stretch. He can hit big time shots, get big time rebounds, make big time stops on the defensive end of the floor, and he could be well worth the lottery pick that the Kings paid for in the 2024 draft. Right now and Clifford were also both very good against the Chicago Bulls. And maybe the Kings just have an underrated young core, right? Of Keon Ellis, Keegan Murray, Devin Carter, Maxime Reynau, and Nick Clifford. And maybe they should enter into more of a younger retool, trade off some of the veterans, and build up these younger guys. Zeke says here for the Utah Jazz that they have a very exciting young core, and it's very underrated. My hot take is that this young core has more potential than the Mitchell-Gobert squad did at the time. Now, that is definitely some high praise, because I know the Utah Jazz never made it to a conference finals with Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, but they won plenty of playoff series. And do we think that Ace Bailey, who's probably the most exciting young player on this team, could be as good as Donovan Mitchell? I don't know if I can confidently say that, but they do have a deep young core. I don't think the Jazz are going to be fighting for a playoff spot whatsoever, at least this season. But Kyle Filipowski has looked phenomenal in Summer League. Probably a guy that's way too good for Summer League. I think Isaiah Collier looks so much better, smoother, quicker, stronger than he did last year in the regular season. He looks like he's in great shape, and I'm very excited for year two. Isaiah Collier, Walter Clayton, Cody Williams have both showed some flashes as well throughout Summer League. Haven't even mentioned Ace Bailey, who I wish was playing a little bit more, but we're going to see him get a lot of touches in year one. You also have Walker Kessler, who's an underrated defender in the league, in my opinion. Bryce Sensabaugh was a star standout before Vegas Summer League. And I haven't even talked about Taylor Hendricks, who's hopefully going to be healthy in year three. The Jazz do have an underrated young core. Now that they moved out guys like Jordan Clarkson, Colin Sexton, and John Collins this offseason, I'm very excited just to see these guys get more touches in 2026. Emmett Ball mentions here for the Charlotte Hornets, I got a lot about T-Jon Salon, and he mentions that T-Jon may be okay after all. They have run many plays through him, and his downhill motor, decision-making, shot, and feel looks night and day better than year one. Probably won't ever be a star, but with how comfortable he looks in Summer League, he may develop into something valuable. So I think after maybe the Utah Jazz and the Wizards in terms of Summer League rosters, the Charlotte Hornets have been up there as one of the more exciting rosters overall. They ended up beating the Jazz by 6. And I tweeted out, I want to see a 7-game series between the Jazz and the Hornets Summer League rosters. Liam McNeely looked really good so far. KJ Simpson shot the ball really well. Ryan Kalkbrenner as they forced down low, but more so on T-Jon Salon. He's looked very impressive, and he's looked the part in Summer League. He had 20 points, 7 rebounds against the Jazz, and then he had 16 points and 6 rebounds against the 76ers. I still think the 3-point shot is going to be super inconsistent, and he's still trying to figure out his feel for the game as any young international prospect would. He didn't look good in the regular season last year or in the G League, and this year in the Summer League, he's looked night and day. I agree with Emmett Ball as somebody that could be a little bit more of a difference maker for the Hornets next year. He was always somebody that was a extreme project coming out of Charlotte in the 2024 draft, so hopefully he can make that front office look a little bit smarter in year number 2. I got a couple here on the Miami Heat. First one is from Cease that Kasparis will be very good in some time. I could see his progression following similar to Nikola Jovic's, but his defensive effort has been amazing. And then I have another one from Buckets that Kel'el Ware should not have been untouchable in a KD trade. Now the first one on Kasparis, he didn't look good whatsoever in the pre-Vegas Summer League games. A lot of people were just jumping to conclusions. I tweeted out that I would not check his Summer League stats because, you know what, they don't matter as much, and a lot of people were probably going to be like, you were way too high on him. And he showed out against the Atlanta Hawks and maybe had one of the best Summer League games we've seen from a first-round pick so far. He had 24 points in 28 minutes, shot 58% from the field. He went 5 of 9 from 3, which is an 84% true shooting, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals. Looked way more comfortable out there. He's done a great job getting to the free throw line and being efficient at the line as well. And I'm still very high on Kasparis Jakubonis. I don't care about 2 meaningless Summer League games before Vegas whatsoever. I think he's going to be a very good point guard in year number 1 and will help out Miami for the long term. I think Buckets' comment here about Kel'el Ware is interesting because Eric Spoelstra had an interesting interview where he mentioned that they need to work on with Kel'el Ware his attitude and his effort during games.
Kel'el take the Summer League experience and how we kind of evaluate.
Yeah, okay, there's layers to this with Kel'el. You know, a big part of this is he has to really embrace and improve his professionalism, his consistency, his approach. Every single day.
Which I thought was very interesting just because Kel'el Ware was one of the best rookies last year. He shined in Summer League and he was really effective for them in the regular season. Negative attributes coming out of college was his motor and his intensity, and sometimes would take plays off or sometimes wouldn't give 100% effort. If Eric Spoelstra is saying that, one of the more respected head coaches of all time, maybe there's something going on there in Miami that we're going to have to look into a little bit. SVB mentions here for the Atlanta Hawks that Kobe Bupkin will be the backup for Trey and will average 12 points, 4.5 assists, and 1.5 steals. I hope so, man, because I have been bankrupt so far on Kobe Buffkin stock. I had a top 15 grade on him in the 2023 draft, and he has not been a top 15 player from that class so far. He did have 29 points in that game against Kasperi Shakuchonis, but on worse efficiency, 37% from the field, but he did go 15 of 15 from the free throw line. I like what I saw in Kobe Buffkin, and hopefully he's healthy going into year 3. He's had a lot of injuries so far in his career, and the Hawks didn't really add a backup guard that's going to 100% steal Kobe Buffkin shots next year. They added Luke Kennard, but I do think there's still playing time for Kobe Buffkin in year number 3, and I hope he could prove me right and ball out in 2026. DVL says here for the Memphis Grizzlies that Jemai Meshack, despite scoring issues, was able to spread the floor on offense, make some great reads on both ends while being injured. I don't know how, but he did it. Meshack was one of my favorite sleepers in the 2025 draft. He's played in 3 Summer League games so far. He's had a lot of personal fouls, but honestly, he's getting his teammates involved. He's diving for loose balls. He's making stops at the point of attack on the defensive end of the floor. And when I was watching like Chaz Lanier tape last year at Tennessee, Meshack always stood out to me, and that's why I had him as one of my favorite sleepers in the class. So when a smart drafting organization, especially in the second round like the Memphis Grizzlies are, took him with the last pick in the draft, that bumped up my stock and having Jemai Meshack as one of my favorite guys in the class in the second round. This one is here from the LA Clippers, and they mentioned the Clippers drafting Yannick Niederhauser over Ryan Kalkbrenner was one of the most boneheaded decisions, even if we got Brook Lopez. And Niederhauser just played in 1 Summer League game so far. He had 1 point, he went 0 of 4 from the field, and 10 rebounds against the Rockets. Struggled down low, and that's what his calling card is going to be. He misses 3-point shot. He's not going to take threes for the LA Clippers, at least not right away. He was more of a project, even though he was a 3-year player. He spent a couple years at Northern Illinois, had a good year at Penn State last year, and was a very late riser up 2025 draft boards where he killed the G League elite camp, and then he also did very well at the combine. I thought the Clippers drafted him a little bit too high. I like Kalkbrenner and Raynow over him on my big board, but honestly, I think it's a wait and see thing for Niederhauser. He's a little bit younger than Kalkbrenner as well, and that's probably what the Clippers had in mind when they took him with the last pick in the first round. Josh mentions here for Hugo Gonzalez that he's exactly what the Celtics need right now, and I'm not sure how much opportunity Hugo is going to have in his rookie season for the Celtics, but he's looked the part in his first Summer League game against the Memphis Grizzlies. I think a big thing for these guys coming from overseas to especially just Summer League where it's so chaotic and it's not the best hoops at times, that he's looked very comfortable. And I think that's very big going forward. He's been very aggressive driving downhill. He's making passing reads that I don't think some of these international players would make at times. He's got 5 assists in his first Summer League game, 4 rebounds, super physical. I'm excited to watch him. I didn't give it the best grade after draft night, but if Brad Stevens can trust him, I gotta buy into that going forward. Next one here is for the Cavs that Giorgio mentions that Tyrese Proctor will be a rotational player for the Cavs this season. And Proctor's appeared in 2 Summer League games so far. He had 12 points against the Milwaukee Bucks and 14 points against the Indiana Pacers. He's somebody that can make reads, that's a solid rebounder at his size, and can knock down 3-point shots. He does need to get a little bit stronger and physical on the defensive end of the floor, but their backup point guard last year, Ty Jerome, wasn't a great defender either. I'm excited to watch Proctor next year. If there's an injury to Lonzo Ball or they need somebody to step up and play 8 minutes a night, Proctor could definitely end up being better than Craig Porter Jr. Perry's biggest fan mentions that for the Chicago Bulls, Noah Essengay, Matas Buzelis, and Patrick Williams are all going to end up being the same exact player. Good defense, limited offense that never got to good or elite. So we kind of know that Patrick Williams isn't going to be an elite offensive player. I don't think that Essengay will ever be an elite offensive player either. I still have my hope and my stock in Matas Buzelis after his rookie season. He had a solid Summer League game against the Toronto Raptors, although they were getting blown out. He had 17 points. He had to force a lot, but I still believe in what he did in his rookie season. For Essengay, I was intrigued about Essengay as a prospect going into the NBA draft, but I didn't love the fit in Chicago because I wonder where there's going to be a streamlined opportunity for his role, or is he just another Matas or Patrick Williams like this person mentions? I think we got to wait and see for Essengay. There's a lot of raw aspects to his game. The shot looks like it needs a lot of work going forward, and I don't think the Bulls are going to be great next year, so hopefully he has a lot of opportunity. Just poor Billy Donovan, just another project on your hands. This one here from the Bucks that Austin mentions that no one on the Bucks Summer League squad should be on the opening day roster except Jamari Bouye, who had a step back game-winning shot over the Denver Nuggets in his Summer League game. And yeah, we know that the Bucks don't have the greatest young court in the world. And so far in Summer League, they've scored 90 points and 83 points, some of the lowest for teams that have played 2 games so far. But Bouye did hit a very impressive shot. He didn't shoot great in that game overall. Chris Livingston and Cormac Ryan shot the ball a little bit better. Shout out the Tar Heels. I was very intrigued about Tower Smith in Summer League. Oh man, I'm losing some stock on Tower Smith. I need him to be a little bit better over these next few games for Milwaukee because I think he could have been a wild card for the Bucks next year in that front court, but the shot has just not been falling for him so far. This person mentions here for the 76ers that VJ Edgecombe is going to have a Jaylen Brown career arc. Now, Edgecombe is a perfect Sixer, right? As a rookie, he played in his first Summer League game against the Jazz, and he's been injured since, so we've only seen one Summer League game from Edgecombe, but he was amazing in that game. He had 28 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, looked better than Ace Bailey on the floor, went 13 to 27 from the field, and made some nice plays defensively. I don't know if he's going to have a Jaylen Brown career arc. I think they are a little bit different in terms of athleticism, shot creation when Jaylen Brown was coming out of Cal, but I do think Edgecombe isn't going to get a ton of touches right away, right? Because he's playing behind Maxey, Jared McCain, and maybe Quentin Grimes. We assume he's going to return there in Philadelphia, at least in that backcourt. They still have Paul George, Joel Embiid as well there in Philadelphia. So Edgecombe may not average over 10 points as a rookie, but maybe he's onto something. Maybe that happens like Jaylen Brown, who was on a good team in Boston when he got drafted, and then he ends up having a more scaled up role over the course of his career. Nobody gave me a Nuggets takeaway or hot take, so I'm just going to give one myself. I think Deron Holmes could end up being a very big contributor for the Denver Nuggets next season. He tore his Achilles in the Summer League last year. He was supposed to be the backup center, was probably going to be better than Zeke Naji in his rookie year, missed all of the rookie season. He's looked pretty solid in Summer League. He had 15 points against the Bucks in his first Summer League game. He then had 8 points and 6 rebounds against Minnesota. He's been efficient inside, I think, in a scaled down role, which is going to be behind Jokic and maybe Valanciunas if he doesn't go overseas. 8 to 10 minutes a night for Holmes next year. I think he could definitely play the part for a Denver team that needs a deeper bench and that should have a deeper bench next year given their free agency. So I'm excited to watch Deron Holmes in year number 2, which is essentially his rookie year like Nikola Topic over there in Denver. So that's going to be for me. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, I'd appreciate you dropping a thumbs up. Let me know your Summer League takeaways, hot takes, or maybe overreaction so far. Just remember, it is Summer League, but hey, if it's something that helps your draft narratives, you were right. But if it's something that doesn't help your narratives, then it's just Summer League. Am I right? So yeah, hope you guys enjoy. Drop a thumbs up. If you want to partake in any of these going forward, follow me on Twitter. Link is in the description, as well as my TikTok and Instagram. You can follow me over there. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.